Hi Dragons! As I promised, I'm going to go over just a couple problems from Oh Yes, I Am the Muffin Man, where we've looked at determining equivalent ratios. Flipping ahead to section 3.5, we had started out working on our double number lines, and we were scaling up and down our number lines. We worked on several vocabulary words. We looked at interval, which was the space in between the tick marks. We talked about the scale, and they're not identical in these situations. Like this scale is counting up by $2.50 each tick mark. This scale is counting by multiples of 3 each tick mark. So although the double number line is working in conjunction with one another, they are counting by different scales. We went on to number 3. We filled out both top and bottom number lines. We were able to answer these questions. We talked about the patterns that we saw. If you don't remember this one, and some classes only saw one direction, we said for every 3 corn muffins it costs $2.50. You can flip that. For every $2.50 you can make 3 corn muffins. Either way, we're going the for every blank there are blank method so that we understand that we're making a ratio, which is a comparison. And this is a special type of comparison here. It's not part to whole. It's a rate because you're dealing with 2 different units. We have muffins and we have money. On to number 4, which was your assignment. 1 pound of bananas costs 64 cents. They already graphed that for us on the banana number line. Use the double number lines to determine the cost for each quantity of bananas. All right, I'm going to try really hard not to use a calculator here and see how well I do. When I see problems like this that have unfriendly numbers, I take a glance at what they're asking, and I see that there's some fractions. So then I ask myself, is there a reason that they didn't start 1 here? Why isn't 1 banana here? And that's because they want us to go down to half a pound. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 intervals. So if I were to cut that directly in half, 1/2 is going to be right here. I want to go ahead and add that. I'm going to annotate that with some pen. So this is my half mark. If I had half a pound of banana, because they're measured in pounds here, that means I cut 64 cents in half, would be 32 cents. Now I know what 1 is worth. Now I know what 1/2 is worth. I have enough information to figure out 1 1/2 if I wanted to, because I would add 64 cents to 32 cents, and I would get 96 cents. I have enough to know what 2 is costing, because I would just double this. 1 times 2 gets you 2, 64 cents doubled. Well, if you're not sure and you don't have a calculator, you could either multiply it by 2 or just simply add. So $1.28 for 2 pounds. So I've got so much good information already. So here I scaled down. From 1 to 1/2, I just cut it in half, which is the same as dividing by 2. I scaled down. So from here to here, I scale down. I divide by 2. Once I'm at 1, I can pretty much scale up to anything I want. I want to see if you recognize that there's a pattern from 1/2 to 1 1/2. How many halves fit into 1 1/2? If you said 3, you are correct. So I could have scaled up from 1/2 to 1 1/2 by multiplying by 3, which also means I can scale up from 32 cents to 96 cents. That is times 3. So right now, all our numbers are working out quite nicely. I know that I don't have 2 1/2 pounds. I have half a pound. We got that answer. That is 32 cents. I have 2 pounds. That's $1.28. And if I compose the half pound and the 2 pounds, I can get the 2 1/2 pounds. We talked about that, composing the parts. So if 1/2 pound is 32 cents and 2 pounds is $1.28, when I add it together, I get 2 1/2 pounds here And I get, carry the 1, 5, 6, and then bring down the 1, $1.60 for 2.5 pounds. 2.5 pounds would be here, $1.60. Now, because I don't have a calculator, I'm not feeling 100% sure about that, so I kind of want to scale up. How many halves fit into 2.5? That's 1, 2, 5. 5. So I want to multiply 32 cents by 5 just to check my work. If 5 halves fit into 2.5, that means I also have to multiply 32 cents by 5. 15, 16. Move decimal over twice. Yep, $1.60. Okay, so 2.5 pounds is going to cost us $1.60. Notice that I did not use a calculator. I wanted to prove to you that it can be done. Even though they're kind of messy decimals, it didn't require too much painful work. So here I just did some addition. That problem is separate from this problem. And then if you didn't catch all the math, pause the video, go back, rewatch the section so you can see what I'm doing. This is multiplication here. On to number 5. The cost for the Muffin Man Bakery to make 4 cinnamon raisin muffins is $3.20. Use the double number line to determine equivalent ratios and answer each question. Explain your calculations. So 0 to 0, I'm going to go 4 tick marks. Let's see, number of cinnamon muffins. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to count that as 4 muffins. And for every 4 muffins, it costs $3.20. I'm pulling that information straight out of the problem. That's where that's coming from. That is where that's coming from. What is the scale this one's counting by? If you said it's counting by $3.20, you're just about right. But be sure that if you're going to count by $3.25, that you skip 4 intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple ways we can handle that. I can see the first question's asking, how much does it cost to make 8 cinnamon raisin muffins? There's an easy correlation, a relationship between 4 and 8. Times 2. Times 2. So that's going to be $6.40. What if you didn't see this times 2? Is there another way? I can scale down before I scale up. Let's say I wanted to know the cost of just 1 muffin. If I want to know the cost of just 1 muffin, I could scale down. To go from 4 to 1, I have to divide by 4. Remember, we're looking at multiplicative relationships, and multiplicative relationships involve division and multiplication. Then I do 320 divided by 4 to get to the matching component. 320 divided by 4. I happen to know that because I know that 4 can go into 32 8 times. So that means each muffin costs 80 cents. If you're not sure about that math, let me work it off to the side here. We've got $3.20 divided by 4. Your decimal rises up. 4 can't go into 3. 4 can go into 32. 8 times. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract. That is 0. Bring down. 0. 4 goes into 0 0 times. 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract nothing. 80 cents. So 1 muffin costs 80 cents. So if I travel down this road, the cost of 1 muffin is 80 cents. I could still travel up to 8 muffins. You can definitely travel that road. You can go from here up here. This has a special name. That's your unit rate. 80 cents per muffin. 80 cents per muffin. That is your unit rate. So I can scale up from where I am. If I'm at 1, I can easily travel to 8. by multiplying by 8. So this is another method to scale up. If I'm going to travel from 1 to 8, I'm going to have to travel from 80 cents to what we didn't know at the time. 80 cents times 8 will in fact give you $6.40. I'm going to prove that off to the side. $6, let me start with, change it to 80 cents times 8. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 8 is 64. Put down the 4, carry the 6. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 6 is here. This moved 2 place values, so your decimal moves 2 place values. It's $6.40, which is what we originally had when we scaled up from this section here. So 8 cinnamon raisin muffins can be solved in multiple ways. The answer there is $6.40. How many cinnamon raisin muffins are made for $12.80? Well, $12.80 is double $6.40. Now I'm going to see how far $6.40 can go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if I'm from here to here, I add another $3.20. So we're going to figure out what that is in just a second. From 4 to 8, if you're counting by multiples of 4, what goes here? It would be 12. And then I can count another multiple of 4 and go here, and that would be 16. 640 plus 320 would be what number here? You said 960, you're correct. Now I need 960 plus another 320. If you're not sure, do the math. Like I said, 1280 is here. So they ask, how many cinnamon raisin muffins can you make for $12.80? We proved it on the double number line. You can make 16 muffins. I could have scaled up from 8 to 16. How would I have known to go there? I would have known that 640 times 2 would get me $12.80. You'd have to know that mentally. From 640 to $12.80, and $12.80 was provided in the problem, you would multiply by 2. If I'm going to multiply this by 2 and scale up, I have to scale up in the exact same way here to keep the ratios equivalent. 8 times 2 is 16. That means $6.40 per 8 muffins is equivalent ratio to $12.80 per 16 muffins. Last question. What is the cost of making 12 cinnamon raisin muffins? We already graphed it. You already did that work. So that's just $9.60. So that is finishing number 5. We have just number 6 to go. It takes 1 cup of sugar to make 12 oat bran muffins. Use the double number line to determine equivalent ratios and answer each question. Explain your calculations. So we've got sugars to number of muffins. Like I told you before, I glance down to see if there's any fractions before I make choices about my number line. I'm going to need 1/2 cup of sugar, 2/3 cup of sugar, 1.5 cups of sugar. Not an easy number line. So I think I'm going to have to cut it by 6s to be able to do 1/2 cup and 2/3 cup. All right, let's take a look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's put 1 cup here. You're going, how did she know how to do that? I thought of a common denominator between the 2 and the 3. The common denominator would be 6. I know I'm going to need a 6 for the parts they're asking me for. So 1 cup of sugar makes 12 muffins. All right, we did part A. We plotted the original. Check. How many oat bran muffins can be made with 1/2 cup of sugar? Well, I did 6 intervals. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we count the space in between. To cut that in half, I'd have to go back 3 intervals. So I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to scale down. I'm going to divide by 2. I've got half a cup of sugar here. To find the match, I'm going to take 12 and also divide by 2, which means I get 6 muffins. So if I have half a cup of sugar, I'm going to get 6 muffins. What if I have 2/3 cup sugar? Well, you have to find thirds in there. Let's see. That would be 1/3. That would be 2/3. What would I do? I kind of want to see what it costs, what you get for 1 muffin, but I'm not sure that's going to work out. Maybe I could do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that's half a cup, and that's 1/3. That's 1/2, that's 2/3. 2/3 is 8. So I used some skip counting there, because I wasn't that comfortable with 2/3, to be honest. So 2/3 cup gets you 8 muffins. What else I got? 1½ cups. That I'm comfortable with. Because I know what 1 is. That's 12 muffins. 1 cup gets you 12 muffins. 1/2 cup gets you 6 muffins. If you add that all together, 1½ cups gets you 18 muffins. How many cups of sugar are needed to make 3 muffins? 3 muffins. Yucky number. Now I need to think of some other equivalent ratios. Well, you could cut back. You could use the double number line, but I could also use a proportion here. And I know making the connection is important. If you get 12 muffins out of 1 cup of sugar, you could get 3 muffins out of how much? What if we divide by 4? Divide this by 4. 1 cup divided by 4 is 1/4 cup. So you need 1/4 cup for 3 muffins. If I know that, I could scale up. How much is 15 muffins? I can make a nice long proportion for you here. Let's say I see 15 and 9. I'm going to go to 9 first. Let's look at the hop from here. 3 to 9 times 3. 1/4 times 3 has got to be 3/4 cup. I can hop from 3 to 15 by times 5, so I'm going to do 1/4 times 5, which is 1 1/4 cups. So I use proportions there. If I wanted to plot that on the number line, it's going to look a little unusual because 3 muffins would have been here. And 9 muffins would have been here. And so that's 15 muffins would have been here. And now that I see these other numbers, I might have changed my choice about how I use my intervals on my number line. Maybe I would have put 1 way further out. I could still make it work, but then I'm at halfway marks on the tick marks. I could show you the multiplicative swoops here, but the concept is also here. We could map this on a double number line. We could. What would it look like on a sketch? I'll sketch it real quick, and then we'll be finished. If this was sugar, and this is muffins, and 1 cup of sugar was 12 muffins, I can scale down to 3 muffins by dividing by 4, which means I'm going to take this 1 and divide by 4, which puts me at 1/4 cup. Once I'm at 3, I can scale up. I could scale up to 9. 9 would be about here. So then I'd go from 3 to 9, which is times 3. 1/4 times 3 would be 3/4. I could scale way up to 15. I could go from 3 to 15 times 5, which means I can go from 1/4 to the same area times 5, which is going to give me 1 1/4. All the proportions can also be placed on the double number line. I hope this lesson is helpful, help clear up some of the double number line versus proportions concept, and I look forward to seeing you Monday. Have a good weekend.